Hello, children. So, where was the family moved? Like, family was moved to Srinagar of the service officials' family, and here the writer itself is one of the family members. And so, as children, they were enjoying a lot the beauty of Srinagar, as well as the fresh apples and the fun-filled afternoons. So they were all like munching the apples and then moving to amuse themselves in Srinagar. So now, my family lived on the ground floor, while the first and the second floors of the house were occupied by our landlord. So what happened? So the government instructed the official to take a house for rent. So they moved on to a house, like that house description was also done in the previous class, with French windows, and how the bungalow was very like huge and like spacious. Right. So now here, ground floor, they were living in the ground floor, and first and second floors are occupied by the landlord. That means owner of the bungalow. After settling us down, my father moved to a place in the western sector. So therefore now, like father was there with them, like until they are totally settled down in the house, and then he moved on to the western sector. That means he belonged to a defense personnel, right? We accepted the absence of our father without questioning. Right, children, they accepted because they know, already they understood. As they were growing, they were able to understand what is his father's position and how important are his services to the nation. So they never questioned him why he is not going to spend more time with them. Right. Children of service officers learn quite young to be satisfied with the company of their mothers. We were happy when mother told us that he would be back soon. So usually it's very common with all the children of the service officials to live with mother, and they were also very happy that the mother informed when the mother informed that he is going to come back soon. Right. We are exploring the valley to our heart's content, not realizing that soon things were going to change. The change was not sudden, but it was felt by everyone. The peace and tranquility of the valley was soon slipping into an uneasy foreboding of doom and terror that all of us felt. Often our schools would close for days at a stretch. Offices and marketplaces would shut down without warning, and curfew would be declared, throwing normalcy completely out of our life. What remained was the terrible gloom, the spine chilling silence, and a deep sense of fear. These were probably the first phases of the era of terror that was to envelop the Dream Valley for years to come. So the children were were enjoying the beauty of Srinagar, and always like they were happily spending their days. Soon they realized that the things have changed, and but that change was not as sudden as it was for them. So the peace and tranquility of that particular area was already what do you say, gone. Strong unpleasant feeling that something very bad is going to happen soon was there on everybody's face, and everybody know that the place where they are living is not safe. Foreboding means it is something like very unpleasant feeling of something going wrong, right? And also the curfew, whatever the curfew that the government or the police declare, the military declares there, always pushes the people away from the normalcy of life. As well as the children were forced to stay at homes by closing the schools. All these things really, it's really spine chilling silence. So everywhere, everybody knows that there is something which is going to happen wrong, which something wrong is going to happen, and nobody knows like from where it comes, and in which direction, and how intensely the disturbance is going to creep into the valley, right? So everybody was were only silently, quietly waiting, very unpleasantly waiting for unpleasant things to happen. So that is why the writer here is describing it as spine chilling silence. Spine means your backbone, is not? So if you are scared, usually it's your backbone which becomes straight, right? As though it is frozen, right? So that is what here he is explaining. These right now, this is how the situations are at Srinagar. Service officers and their families were soon becoming soft targets for unleashing the pent up rage. Life was entirely thrown off balance as even shopping for daily needs was getting to be difficult. My mother's identity was not a secret in the locality, and she felt that she was constantly being watched. She started living in constant fear, staying up. So now the problem here is that as the family has moved to Srinagar, that is why usually service personnel they never take the families with them. Somehow it happened with this to such places. Somehow it happened here that this officer has to take the family with him to the Srinagar, and now the wife's identity was known to everyone in the Srinagar. So now, and she felt that somebody was watching her always, and she is now much scared and frightened, and she was staying up in the nights, like awake without sleeping. And why? Because she targets. So these the families and the service officials are becoming a very soft target for the feelings, that kind of what do you say, strong feelings that are raising up. So these officials are not the one who are responsible for any kind of war. It is either the governments or the terrorists, whoever are doing it, right? So then, but these terrorists are always targeted, right, for the emotions that the other party or the opponents will be like feeling either bad or like a kind of feeling of enmity, right? Being not being friendly with them, and so therefore it's very common that the officials and their families are becoming soft targets. And thus the mother was unable to sleep in the nights, and she was staying awake because she has to take care of the family, and she knows like what kind of dangerous situation they are living in. Right. Next, nights almost as if she was waiting for something untoward to happen. Her fears soon caught on with us, and my sister and I were gripped with a feeling that something terrible was about to happen. Sure enough, it did. So, from the picture, though, I can understand all the three are girls, a baby girl and two girls. So, here the sister and herself, whoever the writer is, and like even they were able to understand that something terrible is going to happen, because like her fears, like mother's fears that soon something is going to happen, and really, and she was waiting for that day that something is going to happen to them definitely. One night, my mother heard some strange noises around the house, and she tiptoed to the window without switching on the lights and saw through the gap between the curtains. So, what happened one day? So there were some strange noises, maybe some whispers, right? Somebody might be talking with a low voice secretly around the house, and she tiptoed. Tiptoed means, like walking on the toes without like making any noise. And she went to the windows, and slowly she observed from the gap between the curtains. And there are a group of men gathered outside our house. She froze for a second, but soon she gathered her strength, picked us up, and ran towards the only link between the ground and the first floor, a door which usually remained locked from the landlord's side. So, what happened? Here, the mother realizes that the people who have come, there, like who are there near the window, those people are here to harm the family. Really, mother was shocked and even she was frozen. But still, she gained her strength and again she took the children with her and she ran to a door which always was kept locked by the landlord. I remember my sister and me crying and clinging on to my mother while she held my baby sister and softly called out to Zafar uncle, our landlord, and his wife, Shahina auntie, the only ray of hope at that point in time. So what happened? So see how pathetic the condition is. You can see it in the picture, right? See, this is a baby girl, and these are the two girls, like mother, and you can see that nobody is there to help her. And in the midnight, she took the baby into her arms, and both the children also she like took with her, and she went to the door which remained always closed by the landlords. And what is the landlord's names? Jafar uncle and his wife Shahina auntie, and that was the only ray of hope for them at that time, that they may help or they may rescue. I remember closing my eyes and praying that they should hear us and respond. So now the writer is like really, author is really very nervous and in a very shocked state that, and she closed her eyes and then praying for the God that the landlord should respond. At that time, it's already midnight and it's very dangerous outside. People are there to harm them. God must have heard my prayers, as within minutes the elderly couple came down the stairs. I don't know what transpired between mother and them. Within a moment, Shahina auntie let us in. We were refugees in their attic on the second floor. So immediately, maybe the author is feeling that God has heard her prayers, and both the like wife and husband, the couple have come down the stairs and they opened the door. And I don't know, the writer is saying here, I don't know what happened between my mother and them. I don't know what my mother said and what they understood, but they immediately let us inside, and they have taken us to their second floor, and there they we were refugees. Refugees means the people who take shelter in somebody or some other place which do not belong to them. So we were refugees in their attic on second floor. Attic means, like what is attic? That is above the like just below your roof. There will be something to put all the luggage and like unwanted things. Usually we'll be putting there attic. So that's the topmost area where you can store something. So at that place we were taking the refugee. I saw Shahina auntie holding mother in her arms. The minutes ticked by very slowly as we froze ourselves in the moment of terror, as if any movement would take us to the claws of vultures hunting for prey. What might have happened if Shahina auntie has not helped us? Like so, let's see that part later on. Right now, here we can see that Shahina auntie very humanly, very touchingly, very gently was holding the mother. Really, we should appreciate such kind of gesture from people, and her love and her warmth really made them a little bit relaxed. But anyhow, they were very much frozen, and the terror was there around, and even the vultures are ready to hunt for the prey. Who are the prey here? The family. The service officials' family is the prey, and who are the vultures? The terrorists are the vultures, right? So, children, so really, such a situation, all our military personnel are facing such a situations, including their family members. So, really, we should always stand and honor them, like as well as we should extend our services whenever are needed to them, because of them we are happily living in this motherland. So let's see what had happened in the next class.